Hello, this is Mr. Stansbury. I'm going to take you through the notes on Pythagoras' theorem. Okay, at the end of this, you should be able to say, I can use Pythagoras' theorem to find a missing side of a right triangle. Okay, so first off, Pythagoras' theorem is, in a right triangle, the square of the length of the hypotenuse is equal to the sum of the squares of the lengths of the other two sides, which are also referred to as the legs. Okay, so you know this as a squared plus b squared equals c squared, right? Here's our hypotenuse, and then the other two sides are the legs. And it's the easiest way to figure out which is which. The legs are always attached. It's the two sides that make up the right angle, and the hypotenuse is always across from the right angle. Okay, so let's use that info here to find the unknown length. Okay, so we have these two sides, and we're looking for this. So again, our big important formula here is a squared plus b squared equals c squared, right? A squared plus b squared equals c squared. So important part really is to figure out which one the hypotenuse is, and then the other two by default are the legs. So hypotenuse in this case is the x. So we're going to do the two legs. So we'll do, say, 5 squared plus 8 squared equals x squared, right? And these officially should be centimeters. Okay, so we know that 5 squared, 25 plus 64 centimeters. I really should be writing this the right way for you. Centimeters squared plus 64 centimeters squared equals x squared. So what we want to do here is add those together. 25 plus 64 is 89. So we get that this is 89. I'm going to get this eventually. Centimeters squared is equal to x squared. So we don't want to know what x squared is. We want to know what x is. So to undo the squared, we square root. Okay, so we got to square root both sides. So we get x equals, and we just got to figure out what the square root of 89 is. So do second square root. And then instead of always re-entering the number, I just get into the habit of doing second answer. And that gives us 9.43398. So let's do, if we're going to round this off to, it doesn't specify, so let's just start getting into the habit of 3 significant figures. There's the first significant figure, second, third. So this 3 tells the 3 to stay the same. So it's 9.43. Meters is what our other side, the hypotenuse, should be. Okay? For B, important part, figure out which one the hypotenuse is. Another way to look at this is a little arrow here. This makes an arrow and it points at the hypotenuse. So our hypotenuse in this case is 18. And that's going to be a squared plus b squared. Doesn't matter which one goes first. Same thing over here. Doesn't matter if you do 5 squared plus 8 squared or 8 squared plus 5 squared. But so let's just do, say, x centimeters squared plus 11 centimeters squared is going to equal 18 centimeters squared, right? So I'm just going to leave the centimeters off here just to, in the interest of time here, to make it our life's a little bit easier. So we got x squared plus 121 equals 18 squared. I don't have that one memorized. Let's see, 18 squared is 324. Right? So we got to get x squared by itself, so we have to subtract 121 from both sides. Right? And we get x equals 203. Right? And the problem is that's not just x, that's x squared, so we got to square root both of those. Right? So let's just do this, minus 121. There's our 203, and now we're going to square root that answer. And we get 14.247. So first, second, third significant figure. 4 tells the 2 to stay the same. So we get 14, x equals 14.2. And now I'm going to put my centimeters back on here at the end. Okay. This one here, hypotenuse is the 7. So we're going to do, these are our two legs. x, and again I'm going to leave the labels off here just for now. X squared plus 5 squared equals 7 squared, right? So we get x squared plus 25 equals 49. Subtract 25 from both sides, and we get x squared equals 24. So we square root both sides, and we get that x is, so we're going to just do square root of 24, and we get 4.8989. So first, second, third significant figure. The 8 tells the 9 to get bigger, so that turns into 10. So that's going to be 4.90, right? So we get x, oops, we already have that there, 4.90 millimeters. Okay, and remember, it's important to put that 0 in there because this shows that you rounded it to the third significant figure. If you left it as 4.9, it's the same value, but it shows that you only rounded to the nearest tenth, and well, the second significant figure instead of the third significant figure. Okay? All right. Find the values of both x and y here. So, let's see, that's not a, but that's a 9. So this triangle here, you'll notice we have 2 unknowns. This triangle here, we only have 1 unknown. So let's figure out what x is first. So in this triangle here, right there, we have x is the hypotenuse, so this really should be equals x squared. So we've got 6 squared plus 9 squared equals x squared. So 36 plus 81 is x squared. So if we add those together, 1 plus 6 is 7, 8 plus 3, so we have 117, right? So we just want to take the square root of, oops, don't have an answer there, 117. And we get 10.816, so first, second, third significant figure. 1 tells the 8 to stay the same, so we got 10.8. 10.8, and this is meters. You're going to always want to put your label on at the end if you don't have it all the way through. Okay? Now, let's go back and find y. Okay, so now that we know this here is 10.8, we're going to now use that to figure out what y is. So, again, you always want to use your unrounded number to figure out this other side. Whenever you're using a number that you calculated, that you rounded, you want to try to use the unrounded number if you need to use it to find a further number. So officially this over here is going to be, let's see, our hypotenuse is 14. So we're going to do equals 14 squared. That's the hypotenuse. And it's going to be y squared plus, we're going to write 10.8, right? 10.8 squared. But we know if we take 10.8 and we square it, we're going to get 117. So that's kind of the nice part about this. So we get y squared plus 117 equals 14 squared. I don't have that one memorized either. Is 196. Right, so we get y by itself. We subtract 117 from both sides. And we get y squared equals 79. Right, so we got to square root both sides, and we get that y equals whatever the square root of 79 is. All right, and we get 8.888. The 8 tells there's first, second, third significant figure. This 8 tells the 8 to get bigger, so we get y equals 8.89 meters is what y is going to be. Okay, that's all there is for this part of Pythagoras' theorem. If you have any further questions, please feel free to ask in class. Thanks.